about Georgia Rose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, little Georgia Rose right there. All right, I'm talking today about faking your way through something, or improvising, if you rather have that word. I'm going to teach a class here coming up in October called Fake It Till You Make It. And I taught this one over the summer and had a good experience doing it, so I'm going to do it again. And I'm just going to go down the list and tell you what kinds of stuff is going to be in this class. Because I think it's a good class. We're talking about faking a solo. You've been to a jam. You've seen this happen before. You go to a jam and somebody over here can play a solo on every song. And I suspect he hadn't even heard the song. Okay, so we know this can be done. That you can fake a solo, a break, on a song that you may not even know very well. And I want to talk about how you can do that, right? Now, it's not instantaneous, but there's some things we can do to get there. So I want to talk about that. So I'm going to just kind of run down the syllabus of the class here. It's a 3-week class. What are the possible melody notes in the key of G? Okay, so if we've never heard the song. Let's say we want to guess at the melody. Well, the male vocal range takes place on these 3 strings, generally in bluegrass songs. And these are generally the notes. And maybe sometimes that F sharp, and maybe there's some other notes in there. So the song I just did, Georgia Rose. Now come and listen to my story, a story that you know is true. Most of the notes are in that area. Okay, so that gives us a range of notes to play with. Now you're going to have to guess at what the starting note is. Somebody sings a song you don't know. You got to guess at the note. You don't know what it is, but you know it's going to be one of these. Why? Because those are the notes in the chord. If there's a G chord, it makes sense that somebody would sing a note that's in the G chord because it will sound like it goes with the chord. There's exceptions to that, but generally that's a pretty good guess. And what I do is I listen to whether that note is high or low, or medium, and I just make a guess. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, and from there you can play, even if you don't know the melody when you're first starting out. You can listen to the song. Does it go higher? Does it go lower? And you can learn to follow your scale up and down. And go up and down the way the vocals go. You might not get it right. It's a jam session. It's okay. You're not on stage right now. Nobody paid to see it. You can go up and down the scale the way you think the song goes from whatever starting note you pick. You might be wrong. You might be accidentally playing a harmony, but it's okay. The next thing I put on the little syllabus is kickoffs. How are you going to do a kickoff, okay? Kickoffs are these, the way to let everybody know you know what you're doing. So we go like something like this, okay, or and it's a really solid entry point. So we're going to talk about kickoffs to every one of these melody notes. Here's the way a lot of people approach this. A lot of people approach this by just playing the chord progression in a different way than strumming. So you can play a chord progression by playing rhythm guitar. play a chord progression in lots of ways. You can play a chord progression in double stops. A lot of people, you could play a chord progression in licks. Okay? So a lot of times when that person is faking a solo, they're not faking the melody. In fact, maybe the melody went by so fast they couldn't learn it, but the songs are so similar, they might know another song that has that same chord progression. They can pick up on that, the similarities, and play. They're basically trying to do something for every chord. Well, that could be, big fancy runs. It could be something really simple. So, then we're gonna try to find notes around double stops. Okay, so we're gonna actually be outlining melodies in double stops. We're not playing the song, we're playing double stops. And then what we're going to do is add in maybe some other notes around those double stops. So it's small things that we're going to be doing to get the big picture and kind of set you up on a path where you can continue this kind of study as you go. And then the last thing I put on there is adding in stock licks. And I take an example like, maybe a lick like this. That's a stock lick, meaning pull that off the shelf, use it over any G chord, okay? So that's the other thing people do is they know some stock licks that they can pull off the shelf and put over a C chord or a G chord or a D chord or whatever. There's C licks, there's G licks, there's D licks. That's one I know. That says bluegrass every time. So that's how I want to get you started. So if you're somebody, who's this for? This is for somebody who this is a mystery to, who is in a jam session, like maybe a monthly or weekly or some kind of jam session, and somebody keeps saying, "Hey, why don't you take a solo on this?" And you look at them like, "Oh, I got to go home. I got to get my tab. I don't have it quite down." And say, "How can I get off the tab? What's a way I could start to get into this?" This class might be a way for that, okay? So take a look at it on the website, andyslessons.com. See if it's something you're interested in. If it is, you can sign up for it there. And if something more specific you're looking for, I teach lessons and stuff too. I'm going to go ahead and just goof off and play a couple breaks on this song, and we'll just see what happens. All right, here it is. cool. All right, thanks a lot.